So today we join with all of our global communities in the topic of living in alignment with truth. Alignment's one of those new kind of buzzwords that we toss around in the spiritual world. It's very chiropractic. Living in alignment with truth requires of us a constant reset. And the thing to think about that, and the paradoxical portion of our foundational truth and philosophy, is the fact that truth, this thing that we're constantly trying to reset ourselves with, is always there. That thing we're always searching for isn't out there, it's always been in here. That thing that we're always praying for and hoping for and wishing for isn't yet to be created, it's already created. And so our life then becomes a life of allowing and unveiling and revealing that which is already there. And so to be living in alignment with truth means that truth is already inside of us, and that we're having to be readjusted and reconfigured in order to create within ourselves the space and the willingness to not just remember it. It's not enough just to remember it, but to then take that remembrance and infuse and embody it through action and through willingness and through thought and through deed. And so we see a world in which people live in alignment with their highest spiritual truth. We see that world, we own that world, means that the responsibility is to take that and to each day find a way to put ourselves back into this alignment. And so, like every other year when I go to Cambodia and we're all leaving, without exception, 100% of the time, every person comes up to me, very emotional, and they say, "This is the best thing that's ever happened to me." And we hug and we enjoy and we say our goodbyes. But this year, when they said to me, "This is the best thing that's ever happened to me," or "This was the best year ever," or "I can't believe how much we accomplished and the way in which the children are expanding and growing. This is the best thing that's ever happened to me." This year I said, "Why? Tell me why. I want to know from you what that is about. Explain to me that feeling inside of you." And mostly it has to do with the fact that they are so loved, so powerfully and so palpably loved by these children, that they cannot help but be caught in the contagious infectiousness of this outpouring of just unabashed expressions of gratitude and appreciation and joy. And they say to me, it's unlike anything I've ever experienced before. I have several people often who didn't have children of their own. And so can you imagine with them, after being surrounded for 2 weeks with children hanging on their arms and legs as they're walking around, just pulling and pulling on them, that maternal part of them that was denied in this particular lifetime, finally getting a chance to breathe and taste what that felt like. Taking them into the villages to where they see conditions that you don't necessarily see in our day-to-day world. One in particular, we went into the village to dig a well at a particular family's little hut, and I was walking around and I came upon this little shed that had a metal roof and just a flat board on the bottom of the ground, and in there was this young woman sitting cross-legged on that board, and she had beside her 2 5-gallon buckets of garlic cloves. Big garlic bulbs, and she was peeling one bulb at a time, and she would get $1.25 per 5-gallon bucket of garlic cloves, and she would peel garlic from 7 in the morning until 10 at night. And when I found a translator, I asked him to tell me, did she have any children? And he said, yes, she has 2. The husband's not around. And so those kinds of things stand out to me as I think about those particular conditions, and they affect the people who come on the trip. And that's what invokes within them this emotionality that cannot help but be expressed. And so when I said why, they're relating all of these stories to me. And I asked them, I said, you realize that this connection and this love and this visceral outpouring of emotion that you're having right now, you realize that that's always been inside of you. But for some reason, most of us, the majority of us on this planet, we hold that emotion in this sort of protective shield and we don't let it out unless there's a special occasion, like a trip across the world or a workshop with somebody or some kind of special meeting or falling in love or something that unleashes this thing that has always been there. So the key is we let that out on that special occasion. What makes it go back in? What pulls the shade down and rolls the welcome mat up and shuts the door closed again so that we go back to business as usual? Because we all do that. You ever been to a workshop or a conference and you're so high and you're thinking, oh my God, my life's changed. And then 3 days later, business as usual. So living in alignment with truth is not waiting for the special occasion. It's not waiting for some external over-the-top circumstance to unlock and pierce through the resistance that has dismembered us from that part of our expression in order to remember or realign it or put it back into its place. We don't have to wait for that, but yet most of us do. And so living in alignment with truth then becomes a constant remembering of why and who and whose we are. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, wrote that we are all incarnations of God. God is what we are. So we always have to pause because there's always so many new people with us to remind ourselves of what is our definition and our understanding of God. We philosophically do not describe God to be a deity, but God is life itself. It is the energy, it is the intelligence, again, that created worlds, that created life, that created every symbiosis that is taking place in all of the activity of interchange within our world. That's God. It is beauty, it is light, it is love, it is source. It is the divine. And God is what we are, so we are all those things, but are we all those things 100% of the time? Most of those things we only let peek out on special occasions. God, he says, is not lost, neither can we ever be. But how many of us have cried out, oh, I feel so lost. I feel so separate. I feel so disengaged. I feel so less than. When the reality with a capital R is that's not a truth statement. Because God is not lost, and neither can we ever be, because we are absorbed in our totality in that which is that intelligence and source in God. And so it becomes a life choice of a degree of permission that we give ourselves day to day. But so many of us wait for that permission for special occasions. So I love the fact that people come and they have that experience. I love the fact that there was a woman last year who had lost her legs from the landmines in Cambodia. And she was in the village. And it was one of the first times we had started our program in this particular building. And she came up to me and she said, I want to learn. And I said, okay. And I made arrangements so that she could go. And do you know, within this year, she went through 3 levels of classwork. And she came to the graduation at our Siem Reap and got her certificate and crawled up on the stage without her legs to receive her certificate and was just as proud could be. And everybody lost it. But for her, it was business as usual. This was just one more thing on her to-do list with regards to living in her alignment with her truth. This was not a special occasion. I kid you not, this was not something that for her was outside of the realm of possibility, because she knew who she was. And she knew what she was capable of, and she had just been waiting for that door of opportunity to open for her to grab that and take advantage of it. That door of opportunity is wide open for you, for me, 24/7, and are we taking advantage of it? Or are we waiting for some special occasion? He says God is what we are. God is not lost, neither can we ever be. We never need to prepare to meet our God, for we are meeting him every day. He uses the gender him, but we are preparing to meet it, that which is life itself, every day. But what we do need to do, and what we will always be doing, is to express more and more of this nature through ourselves. This is, I love this is the endless pathway. So I don't know how many of us have been waiting for a finish line. But there is no finish line. And I love the fact that there is no finish line. I love that there is no completion to our exploration and expression of what God is through us. Wouldn't it be a drag if you could only go so far? Wouldn't it be a drag if that woman in that village of Nokokrau, who did not have legs, thought that there was nothing else for her to achieve in life? Wouldn't that be a drag? Except what she saw was, I'm looking for that next available opportunity for me to allow that which is the more of me to come through and to breathe life and to take advantage of it. That's the heightened anticipation and expectation that should be a part of our living in alignment with truth. For you and I to wake up every single day and go, oh my God, mind blown, whole canvas of a day to express. I got what? Valentine's is how many? To find a boyfriend so I can take advantage of that ceremony? Eat some of that cake? What was that? I mean, it's there. He says when we learn to trust the universe, then we shall be happy. Then we shall be prosperous. Then we shall be well. When we learn to trust the universe, we shall be these things. When we learn to trust the universe, what does that mean? To trust the universe means to live in the alignment of truth. Trusting the universe means, and this is the key thing, I no longer from this day forward have to worry about what's going to happen to me. I don't have to worry about who's going to take care of me when. I don't have to worry about what's going to happen to me economically. I don't have to worry about where I'm going to go and who I'm going to be with and what's going to happen, because as long as I am a part of mind, of consciousness, and the clarity to be able to choose, I will always be taken care of by the universe, because I have the power to choose that as my reality. Think about that. Because those of us who very subversively are worrying about what's going to happen to us are not fully living in the alignment of truth. When we become engaged in conversation about the possibility of what could go down, then we are not living in alignment with truth. This is the thing. Do you think that the beauty and the synchronicity of life itself, which has come this far, would implode upon itself based upon a few politicians? Seriously? Do you think that the mindset of politicians has more power than the genius of that which is the irrepressible truth of the creation of life? And the more that people understand that they have options, then the more that sense of ease and that sense of remembrance and that sense of realignment is capable for us, not on special occasions, but for always. And so we are given the opportunity then through our philosophy to remember and to embrace this understanding more and more and more. Throughout our science of mind literature, we read that our souls are on a pathway of an endless and ever-expanding experience, a journey of reawakening. And I always emphasize the word reawakening because what does that mean for you personally? Even if you've never cracked open a book or taken advantage of a class or done anything to advance or elevate your life, what does the term reawaken to you mean? It means that regardless of where you are in the degree of your relationship with your realignment with truth, you are already in possession of truth. That you are already awakened at some level. The reawakening is simply the depth, is simply the revealing, is simply the unlayering and the uncovering of who you already are. I love this statement. The person that you want to be, you already are. And that's what living in alignment with truth means. And so when I said to these people, I said, you know, this beautiful emotion that you're feeling, you realize that you have access to that all the time. You have access to that all the time. And the strange thing about it is when I was reminding them of this, they didn't actually like that very much. They wanted that special feeling to be held in a special place for a special time in a special container. And we start to realize that when we hold ourselves in that special relationship, then we miss out on the opportunities that are all around us. When you look to your left and when you look to your right and front and behind you, what you see is truth. What you see is God expressing as that individual. And when we forget, the beautiful part about forgetting is that the other end of the spectrum is remembering. And I'm here to tell you that you have enough around you, not necessarily confined to this room, but you have enough stimulus created from the Creator, created from the divine, to remind you of who you are when you forget, if you are willing. I found this beautiful song that was written by a gentleman named Michael Gott. He's a minister, a New Thought minister, and a beautiful musician. And I asked Penelope if she could find that song because, to me, living in alignment with truth is built upon remembering and forgetting and remembering and forgetting. It is built upon that dynamic. And what I want for us is to be able to remember more than to forget. And as she comes up, I want you to just listen to the words, and Sayud is going to help me out here. Just take a deep breath.
remember for me. When you forget, ah yes, I will remember for you. I will see what you can't see. When you forget, when you forget.
Sing with Sayuda.
When I forget, will you remember for me? When I forget, will you remember for me? Help me see
What do you see?
what you see.
When I forget.
When I forget,
Again, when I forget.
when I forget.
These two sections, sing this part with Penelope. When you forget,
I will remember for you. I will remember for you. When you forget, when you forget, I will remember for you. I will remember for you. I will see. I will see what you can't see. What you can't see. When you forget. When you forget. When you forget.
and you sing when you forget. When you forget, I will remember.
I will remember for you.
When you forget,
When you forget, I will remember for you.
I will see
I will see what you can't see. When you forget, when you forget.
everybody when I forget.
When I forget, will you remember for me? When I forget, will you remember for me? Help me see. Help me see. What you see. What you see. When I forget. When I forget.
And I know that the request that comes from the heart and the soul, that which asks to remember, is always instantly greeted by that which helps us to remember. Because in our reawakening, we discover that who we long to be, we are. That which we crave and hunger for, we already possess. And that this life that has no finish line, is a life of constant unveiling, a constant experience of uncovering the greatness, the value, the worth, the beauty, the love that we have possessed all along. And so in the divine sacred moment of this gathering today, we allow ourselves to stop waiting for the special occasion, to stop waiting for the invitation from the external, and to invite ourselves into the grand union of the expansion of our creativity, into the grand union of our wholeness and our vibrancy, into the grand union of our abundance, our prosperity that is wanting to pour itself out to us in ways and into levels that we have yet to experience, but it needs the invitation. The invitation does not possess 1 ounce or 1 energy of resistance. It is an invitation of knowing. An invitation of knowing that there is nothing else but that. There is nothing else but divine expression, divine creation, wholeness, joy, the fulfillment of our heart's desire. That is the reality with the capital R, that sits and waits in heightened expectancy for the invitation without resistance to come, so that it may enter into every fiber, every portal of our being, from the crown of our head to the soles of our feet. And it constantly says, when you forget, I will remember for you. But you must know that I'm here. And so today, for however long that we can create the duration, we will remember, and we will celebrate, and we will look into the eyes of our brothers and sisters, and we will see God. We will hold the hand, and we will hug the shoulder of that which is the divine, which is the power that is enthused and energized and ready to express through all of the personalities that sit in the chairs of this room, to all of those who listen to this audio, to all who watch this broadcast. It is not confined by time or space, but it is the all-pervasive energy that cannot wait for your personal permission. And the indescribable excitement that it holds in order to have you as the bridge to that greater expression. So today is that day, and this is that moment, and this is the place, and this is the divine community. It says in Scripture, where 2 or more are gathered together. And what that means is when you have one energy in alignment next to another energy in alignment, next to another energy in alignment, next to another energy in alignment, that the power and the potency of that cannot be stopped. And so the ripple effect of that alignment with truth moves far beyond just this place, far beyond just this city, far beyond this state, far beyond this country. But it becomes the normal for our world, where everyone ceases to wait for the special occasion and realizes that that occasion is now. And this is that moment. And this is that community. And this is that place. And we are the ones that we have been waiting for. Take a breath. And from a very sincere place, look to your left and look to your right and simply say, I will remember for you. And together we say, and so it is. Hi, I'm David Ault, and I simply want to say thanks. Thanks for taking the time to watch our broadcast here at Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. We have a vision, and that vision is to reawaken all to their spiritual magnificence. And one of the ways that we are able to do that is through this very medium of broadcasting. So if you got anything out of this, if you felt in any way inspired, or if something spoke to you directly, then I extend an invitation to you to become a part of our family by donating. And there are many ways in order for you to be able to do that. One is to simply go to our website at slca.com, and there you will find all different kinds of prompts that will help you support what it is that we are doing here in Atlanta. One way is to become a pledger. That means that you decide on a monthly basis that you are going to help us with this vision. Another way is to donate through our management system called Fellowship One, another through PayPal, and another even easier way is on your cell phone. You can do what's called text to tithe, and that number is 404-796-7030. Again, thank you so much for your support, and I invite you to come back weekly to see what it is that we're up to. Blessings.